Pinato sa akin yung
Jimmy, alam mo yung sa Pregnancies sa bar yun eh. Sa bar. Saan? Saan sa bar? Doon mismo. Sa bar.
sa meron
Sa bar.
Nag-aakyat ka sa tore. Di ba
Good morning, and thank you for joining us in this technology media conference. Please rise for the invocation. Lord mighty God, we come before your presence, and we want to praise and thank you for giving us this day, for allowing us to come to this venue in peace and safety. We ask your blessing on each one of us here to enlighten our minds so that we are ready to receive new information, new insights, and give the bigger picture for the things we do to promote science for the people. We ask your special blessing and anointing on our speakers as they explain the social dimensions of the things we do in scientific research. These have implications for our brothers and sisters in the country, and therefore we take these things as a service to you. May your name be praised in everything we do. All this we pray in Jesus' name. Amen. Please remain standing for the Philippine National Anthem. Bayang magiliw, pares ng silanganan, alap ng puso, sa ibig mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, duyang karang magiting, sa manlulupi, di ka pasisi. Sa dagat at bundok, sa simoy at sa langit mong mukha, may nilagang tula, tawid sa pantay minamahal. Ang isang kang watawat mo'y tagumpay na nagdidinig. Ang bituin at araw niya kailan pa may magdidilim. Lupa ng araw ng walhating pagsinta, buhay langit sa piling mo. Ang ligaya ng pagmay mga api, ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo. We take your seats, and I hope you feel better after singing that national anthem with so much fervor. All right, so again, welcome to this technology media conference, our way of bringing to you, our friends in the media, the latest developments and findings from the research and development sector of the country. To provide the welcome remarks and the framework by which we are going to discuss our topics this morning, I'd like to call on the Executive Director of the National Research Council of the Philippines. Let's welcome Dr. Marieta Bañez Sumagaysay.
Good morning sa lahat. And thank you very much for coming. And this is one of our events such that we're able, the National Research Council of the Philippines is able to bring to the public what we are doing in terms of the researches. And I'm waiting for my PowerPoint presentation very quick because I have to introduce to you first what is the National Research Council of the Philippines. It is one of the 18 agencies under the Department of Science and Technology. And just like PICARD, PSHEARD, and PCHRD, which I think you are familiar with, we grant researches. We have members, that's not my PowerPoint. We have researches ranging from the hard sciences, the social sciences, and the humanities. And for this morning, we will feature 3 of our social science research results, which according to Director Burgos has a lot of implications for the public and the people. So the National Research Council of the Philippines, the PowerPoint is not yet ready, is a research council. So it's a research council, it's a collegial body, and it's an advisory body to government. So according to Act 4120, if you see on the slide, our mandate is to promote and support fundamental basic research, and we provide advice to government on problems and issues of national interest. We promote linkages and serve as repository of scientific findings. Next slide. Next slide. So our research agenda is along the harmonized national R&D. If you notice, we are in that first, the National Integrated Basic Research Agenda. And next, Brian, please. The National Integrated Basic Research Agenda, and we have that encircled in red. That's what we do. These are the issues. And next. So these are the 4 in our agenda. These are issues, and these are about water security. We call 2 big program. And then we have food and security, nutrition security. We have health sufficiency, clean energy, sustainable communities, and inclusive nation building. And it is along this inclusive nation building which our research today is all about. So may I just present to you major the high impact programs that we do. One is on Saklaw or Saklolo Salawa program. So we have research results on Lake Lanao, Lake Laguna, 7 lakes of San Pablo. Then we also have another one, greening mined out areas in the Philippines. We call GMAP. This is about how to green the once barren mined out areas in the country. And we started with Mogfog, Marinduque. Then we also have Likas Yaman sa Kalusugan. What we do is our researchers look for active actinobacteria compounds from rare environments, and what we're doing now is the marine sediments. Is there a possibility that there are some things we can get from marine sediments which will become later on antibiotics that will fight multi-drug resistant diseases? And then we have the atin program, ang tinig namin. This is the more social science part and humanities. And these are some of the researches which we have completed. Documentation, preservation, and cultural studies on indigenous knowledge. So that included Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao, arts, history. And then for today, as I mentioned, it is on the 3 OF Health WOS by one of our NRCP members, Dr. Veronica Ramirez from the University of Asia and the Pacific. And then another one, pregnant girls after Typhoon Yolanda and Ruby, together with the Population Commission who gave us funding for this. And the research was undertaken by Professor Gloria Luz Nelson, also an NRCP member from Ibilas Baños. And the third research that we're going to feature today is on enhancing public's level of awareness on HIV/AIDS using digitized arts. And this was done by Dr. Brian Bantugan, also an NRCP member and a faculty of St. Paul University, Manila. So today he's not around, but he will be ably represented by a co-researcher. He's co-lead also in the program, Dr. Oliver Rodriguez. Sorry. So as I said, aside from being a research council, the NRCP is an advisory body to government. We use our research results to aid policymakers and program developers. And one example, we do policy briefs. So all of these three studies, we have policy briefs. I think it is in your kit. So we have distributed these policy briefs to relevant agencies. So for example, the one on teenage pregnancy, we gave it to legislators in Congress and the Senate, especially to Congressman Sol Aragones, who has a pending House bill on reducing teenage pregnancy. And in her bill, there is no mention about disaster, a possible link of disaster to teenage pregnancy. So we're saying here we have an NRCP research result which says there might be a big link, a significant link between a disaster and teenage pregnancy. So for the others, digitized arts, we have the National Youth Commission now represented by ASEC Del Rosario. So thank you, ASEC Del Rosario, for coming over. And we are coordinating and having a partnership on this aspect. In fact, we had a contest on digitized arts, the Gen Z. There were like 36 entries. So later on, we're going to announce the winners of this. And the other one on the OFW Health Woes, our researcher, through her research results, were able to provide the DOLE and some other agencies with our policy briefs, and hopefully the concerned agencies will use the science for policy making. So this is an advocacy of NRCP. We do not have industrial technologies to produce because our mandate is for basic research. So therefore, we are doing much on the policy advice area. Then the third is, the NRCP is a collegial body. Being a collegial body, we have at this point more than 4,000 members across the country. How do you become a member of NRCP? Give us your publications, give us your track record of scientific productivity, and you are a member. No registration fee, no annual fees. Just give us every year your scientific publications and all of your research works. So we are distributed all over the country, and there are 13 divisions. So if you're a member of NRCP, you belong to any one of this division. So for today, our researchers belong to the Humanities and the Social Sciences Division. Or in my case, I belong also to the Social Sciences Division, being in Economics and Gender Studies. So all other members, they belong to any of these. So maybe that's all to introduce NRCP and to give you an idea why we are doing this. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Mayet. So we're very happy that we are joined by a good number of our friends from the media. Of course, we recognized earlier we had the Undersecretary Rene Sulidu here, but he had to leave for me. Ay, he's still here! Okay. Medyo kulang ng ilaw. Okay, we are also joined by ASEC Del Rosario of the National Youth Commission. Thank you, sir, for your interest and for your collaboration with NRCP. And so we'd like to call on the following people to join the Secretary and Dr. Mayet here at the head table. Of course, Dr. Veronica Ramirez, faculty member of the University of Asia and the Pacific, who did the study on health rules of OFWs. Please join us here at the head table. Also, Professor Gloria Luz Nelson, who focused on teenage pregnancy. She's a professor at the UP Los Baños. And also Professor Oliver Rodriguez, who focused on raising awareness for digitized arts, faculty member of St. Paul University of Manila. Today we have FM, kanina. Philippine News Agency, Oliver is here. And Australia Gallardo from Dispatch Today. SMNI, Paul Montibon is here. STU, Romulo is here. Miguel represents Diario Pilipinas. Jillian is from Business World. Pinas News, Noli is here. Alright. Leader News, Bernard is also representing Leader News. Philstar, Rainier is with us today. Pinoy Extreme is represented by Nolan. DWTD, Miss Terry is here. Signal TV, Joanna. And from Filipino Mirror, Benji. Tuklasinnatin.net is represented by Kathy Cruz. Right? If I miss to recognize any member of media, we will recognize you in due time. All right. We will now go to the presentation, the social dimensions of scientific research. And this is to do with pregnant girls after Yolanda and Ruby. We had quite a discussion there because under no circumstances will Yolanda and Ruby impregnate girls in this situation. So we asked the media also to be very careful how we phrase our titles because it can lead people to think along many other paths that we don't want them to meander into. All right? So we also will talk about the health woes of overseas foreign workers, right? So there's been a study done here and the results and findings and recommendations are very interesting. And lastly, we'll discuss enhancing the level of awareness on HIV/AIDS through digitized art. So this is a novel way of promoting a concept and raising awareness about HIV/AIDS. So to make this presentation, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome the Secretary of Science and Technology, Fortunato T. de la Peña.
Good morning, everyone. My apologies that we had started late. We had the cabinet meeting last night, and you know, it usually ends at midnight. Now, why am I here for this presentation? The National Research Council of the Philippines is a collegial body that is attached to the Department of Science and Technology. There are two collegial bodies attached to the DOST. The other one is the National Academy of Science and Technology. Now, these two collegial bodies are the only agencies connected with DOST that carries out social science research. Okay, so all other agencies are basically focused on basic and applied sciences, covering physical, natural, engineering, and mathematical sciences. Now, in the National Research Council of the Philippines, usually the system of giving grant is not based on the institution, but based on the individual members. So when we give research grants at NRCP, it is to the members like Dr. Veronica Ramirez of Social Sciences Division, and I suppose Brian, Dr. Oliver, are you already a member? Not yet, but Dr. Brian is a member, your co-worker, and Professor Luz is also a member of the Social Sciences Division. Now, dapat silang tatlo ang mag-represent. Kaya lang, ginusto na isang presentation na lang. But I would like to assure you, I am not an OFW. I have nothing to do with pregnant girls, and I know nothing about SIV. But because this is my job to be by NRCP, I would like to present it, okay? But with the apologies that really I'm not the expert here. So let us start. I am excited to share with you these new findings that will support policy making, that will address societal concerns. There are 3 projects supported here by NRCP. There are many more, but we chose the social science research related to health. Okay? And so these are the top illnesses of OFWs. So this is really more of a survey done to determine ano yung pinaka-common illnesses. Number 2 are the external factors affecting the high incidence of teenage pregnancies during disasters. As you know, we have a big program on disaster risk reduction and management, and Yusek Rene Solido is the one heading that. So, nakita ka na nila kanina, di ba? Okay. And maraming aspeto po ang disaster risk reduction. So, including yung mga health aspects. The third one is the effectiveness of enhancing the level of awareness on HIV/AIDS through digitized arts. Okay. Now, the first time I encountered this was that was is that the anniversary? No, when Elizabeth Rapesa was there, or February 13. Okay, and then during the NSPW, it was also presented. Let us start with the OFW Health WOS. Okay? Ano na? Please, okay, yan na. Common health problems among overseas Filipino workers. So, si Dr. Veronica Ramirez ang researcher niyan. Okay? From the University of Asia and the Pacific. OFWs are an important economic contributor to the Philippine economy. The Philippine government has several programs that offer social protection to OFWs. What prompted the DOST and RCP to study the common health problem is going to be answered by these slides. Just to give you some indication, I'm not sure whether these are updated, but sabi nila noon, I don't know today, but there was a point sometime, I think in 2015, na yung kino-compare yung income na nire-remit ng OFW sa income na na-generate ng isang neighboring country out of their oil resources. So sabi nila, yung earn daw ng Malaysia from their oil is around 14 billion dollars. Okay? And yung na-earn naman ng Pilipinas sa OFW remittances is something comparable to that. Anyway, today there are many government initiatives that relate to OFWs. As you have already heard, there is now a priority priority legislation that is being pushed by no less than the President. No? Remember, there were three departments that he wants to be created soon. One is on water, one is on disaster resilience, and one is on OFWs. And more recently too, there has been a move to create an OFW bank. Okay? So this is to take care of the financial transactions of OFWs. Now, let us take a look at our statistics. There is an estimated 2.3 million OFWs based on the results of the 2018 survey on overseas Filipinos by the Philippine Statistics Authority. These are, Dr. Ramirez, itong figure na ito yung nagtatrabaho.
Noong 2018 lang po yan.
2018, pero hindi pa kasama dyan yung mga pamilya nilang kung minsan ay kasama nila. Oo, so ito lang yung workers.
Ito po, 12 million tayo outside. Ito po, just for 25 years.
Ano ibig sabihin? 2018 lang.
There are more OFWs outside, more than 2.3 million.
Ayun nga pagkaalam ko.
This is just for 1 year, 2018. Based on PSA survey.
Ito lang yung lumabas ng 2018. Kasi alam ko more than 10 million ng OFWs eh. So ito lang yung lumabas ng 2018. As to the distribution, 82.6% are in Asia. Okay? 7.8% are in Europe, and 6.6% are in North and South America. Of course, Asia includes the Arab countries, di ba? Okay? Various occupational groups, okay, are prone to different health problems associated with the sex of the OFW and the country of work. Okay? These are mirrored in the nature and extent of the medical claims made by OFWs from the OWA, or the Overseas Workers Welfare Administration, and the PhilHealth. Next slide. The study, the NRCP study by Dr. Ramirez, found out that indeed OFWs from different occupational groups or sex, age, country of work experience different health problems. Let me go through them. The study found out that before working as OFWs, itong mga na-survey na to, there were no major health problems. Okay? Bago sila umalis. According to 689 OFWs who were surveyed in America, in Asia, in Europe, and the Middle East. Now, what are the top illnesses? The top OFW illnesses by occupation of these 689 surveyed respondents from Kuwait, the UAE, Taiwan, Singapore, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Milan, Japan, Malaysia, Hong Kong are reproductive diseases for household domestics, cardiovascular diseases for service workers like drivers and kitchen crew, urinary, excretory diseases for technicians and electricians. Okay? Parang nagpipigil sila, no? And endocrine diseases for plant and machine operators. Okay? Now, the most common among women claimants are those with reproductive diseases, while the men claimants suffer mostly from cardiovascular, urinary and excretory, and neurological and immune diseases. Next slide. Now, household service workers in the Middle East have the most number of medical problems in all of the body systems. Okay, 68% of medical claims come from OFWs from the Middle East, and 13% come from Asia. Of course, we saw earlier that the percentage who are in Asia is around 82.6%. But here, the medical claims, of course, Asia rin ito, are coming from the Middle East, and 13% come from Asia. Pinaghiwalay pa sila, pero Asia sila pareho. Ano? Okay. Next slide. The top occupation groups with OWA claims are household domestic workers, 29%, service and sales workers, 18%, and technicians, 11%. So, marami pang iba, pero ito yung pinakamalalaking itong mga claimants about health claims. No? OFWs, who are domestic workers, believe that their illnesses are caused by overwork and stress. So, ito according to the survey. Multiple shifts, repetitive motion, and awkward position, and even verbal abuse. Okay? Service workers also complain of noise, long work hours, weather conditions, among others, while technicians talk of their exposure to radiation. Now, what are the protocols and policies that are being recommended based on this study? Ito ang pinormulate ko ito, recommendations na ito, Dr. Ramirez. Kayo nag-ano nito? Recommendation. Okay? Based on this study, the recommendations on protocols and policies are the following. Some of them actually ay meron namang ginagawa na dito. Pre-departure orientation seminar must include country-specific health awareness programs. So, magkakaiba nga kasi ang problema sa iba't ibang country. So, dapat yung pupuntahan nilang country, yung orientation, includes the health awareness program for that country. Now, letter B, push for the enactment of a law ensuring portability of health and life insurance where OFWs who transfer from one region or country to another can maintain their health or life insurance. Okay? Now, letter C is the provision of infographics for health education, promotion, health counseling, and coaching. And letter D, push for the expansion of medical benefits to cover actual hospitalization expenses. As we know, usually sa mga work contract nila, hindi naman provided yung mga hospitalization. Ano? These recommendations were submitted to the mandated government agencies, including the lawmakers. Let us move on to the second project. And this has something to do with teenage pregnancy related to disasters. Okay? So the title is Exploring the Links of Incidents of Teenage Pregnancy and Natural Disaster, the case of Eastern Visayas, Philippines. This was done by Professor Gloria Luz Nelson, Professor at UPLB. Anong department po kayo, Professor? Social Science College of Arts and Sciences. So this next project that I'm presenting, explore the links of the incidents of teenage pregnancies after two major disasters, the Super Typhoon Haiyan or Yolanda and Typhoon Ruby. This is, of course, are in Eastern Visayas. This project that was done by Professor Nelson was in collaboration with the Population Commission, which used the study results in designing its programs for teenagers during disasters. Teenage pregnancy is one of the major problems concerning the youth. While teen pregnancy rates in most countries are declining, the numbers are rising in the Philippines. About 500 Filipino teenagers become mothers every day. Or 182.5 get pregnant every year. 182,500 get pregnant among our teenage girls. The NRCP study done by Professor Nelson presents that whenever there is crisis, such as natural disasters, when families are evacuated, relocated, or displaced, given the poor conditions of the temporary shelters, yung mga evacuation centers, where there are less provisions for privacy and security, adolescents, especially girls who are 10 to 19 years old, are considered a vulnerable group. Here are some statistics. Okay? The top figure, okay, shows that teenage pregnancy in Eastern Visayas is 2 for every 10 youths. Saan ba nakita yun? 2 for every 10 youths.
Ever pregnant.
Ever pregnant. Okay. Out of 100, ano? Regardless of the severity of disaster or typhoons. The average age, by the way, of menstruation is 12. The figure at the bottom indicate that most youth had their first boyfriend at the age of 15. So, meron nagbo-boyfriend na ng 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, bumababa pa siya habang nagmamature, ano? Okay. The age, which is considered the age of initiation to premarital sex. Iba na ang panahon. Now, let us take a look at the other slide. The pictures here show a typical situation after disasters. Okay? These were the evacuation centers where families were brought after typhoons Yolanda and Ruby. There were a total of 727 female youth who were surveyed from randomly selected households. Ang edad nila is 12 to 21. Considered young, ano pa rin. Focusing on their disaster shelter experience, narito po yung mga results. Next slide. Wala pala dyan. The results say that the length of stay of youths in disaster shelters is positively associated with the incidence of teenage pregnancy. So the longer they stay in the temporary shelters, the greater the risk of being pregnant, teenage pregnancy. The other one is that adolescents in disaster-prone areas are likely to be molested. Hindi na sinabi dito kung sino yung nagmamolest. The number of moves from one shelter to another prolongs the return of teenagers and youth to normal life. So, kuminsan kasi, di ba, nag-evacuate sila sa eskwelahan, gagamitin na eskwelahan, lilipat naman sila sa evacuation center, and the number of moves prolongs the going back to normalcy. And the timeliness of the adolescent sexual and reproductive health programs should be age appropriate rather than grade level appropriate, since age and not grade level determines puberty. Okay. Now, what are the, going back, let's move to the next slide. What are the protocols and policies that were recommended? By the way, the results of this study were disseminated to all women legislators in the Senate and Congress. And particularly, the results were submitted to Congresswoman Sol Aragones as inputs to Senate Bill 1482 on the Prevention of Adolescent Pregnancy Act of 2017, which si Otto. Naging batas po ba ito? Hindi pa. Hindi pa. The Senate bill has no provision on the link of teenage pregnancy and disasters. Now, the National Research Council, or NRCP, recommended the inclusion of provisions that will address both sexual and non-sexual risk factors that increase the incidence of teenage pregnancy, such as the use of harmonized, next slide, harmonized gender and development guidelines for shelter relief efforts during and after disasters, the provision of safe and private spaces for adolescents, okay, so speeding up the construction of permanent shelters also, the institutionalization, okay, of public-private partnerships for improving access to adolescent sexual and reproductive health information and services, and the regulation of access to explicit pornographic materials, okay? And continue alternative education that are gender-sensitive on sex and reproductive health care. Hindi na describe dito, Professor Nelson, kung ano yung mga problema na nagre-resulta from teenage pregnancy. Okay? Hindi na natin pinakita dito, pero you can elaborate on that. Let me now present the third project. Okay? This is entitled, actually, yung title niya talaga is Going Viral, Using Digital Media Art for HIV/AIDS-Related Advocacies, or Enhancing the Level of Awareness on HIV/AIDS to Digitized Arts. Ito ay ginawa nila Dr. Brian Bantugan at kasama niya si Dr. Oliver Rodriguez, kayo sa St. Paul University, Manila. Okay. Let me now present this. Next slide. Well, first of all, social media has made it easier for the experimental youth not only to access information, but also to contract sexual partners of any gender. Okay, sa social media. Despite the availability of so much information online, including those that speak about sexual health, even the highly educated, the youth continue to fall prey to preventable sexually transmitted diseases like HIV/AIDS. Tayo na yata ngayon na may pinakamataas na rate.
Transmission.
Information alone is not enough to prevent the spread of HIV/AIDS, and not enough of the right information circulates among them. So there are now artist advocates who are helping to curtail the spread of HIV/AIDS. People do not see the value of arts and digital technologies in helping solve not just the spread of HIV/AIDS but also other public health problems compared to medical, clinical, or pharmaceutical interventions. This is what Dr. Bantugan and Professor Rodriguez studied. So in the diagram here, we see what are digitized arts. Okay, they are actually digital art is an artistic work or practice that uses digital technology as part of the creative or presentation processes. Merong video art that effectively uses vocal and visual information in a virtual platform. Merong virtual art that effectively integrates visual and video content online. Merong variable art that effectively combines all the other art forms integrated with virtual elements. Merong vocal art that effectively uses the human voice to effectively deliver verbal messages. Again, art that uses words to correctly inform and adequately explain knowledge about issues, and also art that effectively translates into images, key verbal and vocal messages in a virtual platform. Examples of digitized arts, as we can see, are films, videos, songs, posters, and other printed arts and plays that use any of these elements or combine them. Naalala ko tuloy yung bago namin natuturang kanta ni Director Burgos, Eraserheads. Inaral namin ang huling El Bimbo. At pagka inaral mo yun, malungkot. Malungkot. Kahit masaya yung tugtog, pero pag inintindi mo yung istorya, ay napakalungkot. So, all these digitized arts lead to greater understanding and empathy for people at risk. Okay? And at the same time, support creativity and its utility in solving social problems. But overall, the responsible and creative use of digitized arts inspire the youth in the creation of meaningful artworks that can give new meaning and contribute to better understanding of this social problem. Ito yung mga example niya. The new heroes, the first wave of stigma breakers. May papaliwanag yan ni paliwanag na kaya ngayon kung ano to yun nandiyan sa story ng digitized arts ngayon. Professor Rodriguez, ano ba yung mga nandiyan?
And these are films or comics. Well, most of them are films na ang kwento tungkol sa taong may HIV pero okay lang siya.
Ay, example, nakikita ko yung mukha ni Vilma, ni Christopher. Anong title niya?
Ito, Dahil Mahal Kita. It's one of the earlier films that dealt with HIV po.
Ayun. Ano ibig sabihin ng dahil mahal kita? Kahit may HIV ka, ganun. Ano naman yung film na yun si Sarah
Ang kwento po ni Sarah Jane.
si Sarah Jane. Sarah Jane yung...
She was one of the first to die.
24 years old lang nga tayo.
Namatay po siya sa AIDS.
Yan na yung first wave of stigma breakers. Ano naman yung new wave?
Ito po mga bagong palabas.
Na medyo kasama ng animation.
Opo. Halo-halo na po siya.
Halo-halo na siya. Okay. So, these are examples of digitized arts that were shown during the National Science and Technology Week at the World Trade Center. So, what makes it effective or powerful? Let me read the following. How powerful artworks are formed. First, the complex person present the various dimensions that relate to the person. When you say complex person, siya na yung gumagawa ng digitized art. Oliver.
Yung konsepto po ng complex person here, ano po siya? Yung tao, hindi lang siya two-dimensional, hindi lang natin siya pwedeng makita na bilang may sakit o walang sakit. Makikita natin siya bilang anak, ama, asawa, kaibigan. Yung pong totality ng tao ang tinitingnan po dito.
Kaya yun ang complex. Connectedness shows that digitized artworks used for HIV/AIDS related advocacies are opportunities to connect people, activities, organizations, and advocacies. So nakakaroon sila ng mga connections, connectedness, and networks. Okay? Then, digitized arts are not just creative materials and processes that produce meaningful and insightful moments to audiences. They also are tools that urge immediate changes from the different social players in terms of perception, attitude, behavior, relationships, institutions, culture, messaging, and creative production. So, yung may ability yung digitized arts to call for change, no? Then, they refer, actually, there is a so-called challenge of science, refers to the need to simplify the science behind the transmission and prevention of HIV to a level that is more understandable to a variety of audiences. The science behind HIV is acknowledged as being a challenging area to disseminate. There are at least 4 powerful networks for disseminating these powerful ideas. You have the artistic affiliations, so yung mga artist yun. You have the professional affiliations. you have the educational affiliations and you have government affiliations. So para mo lang sinabing profession, academe, and government. And of course, the artistic group. So, Professor Rodriguez can make this more understandable later. So let me move to the second to the last slide. Okay. The study showed that HIV/AIDS is as much a social problem as it is also a physiological one. It worsens with stigma, silence, and lack of empathy. Artists are designers of powerful messages out of complex issues such as HIV/AIDS, and they translate these issues into relatable, attention-grabbing, and meaningful messages for specific audiences. Kasama na yung mukha ko dito. Yan yung unang presentation nung project. You know? Ang isa sa mga nag-present ay si Miss Elizabeth Ropesa. So, the youth is creative, socially engaged, and digital media competent, and must be encouraged to use their skills to empower communities towards improved public health. And finally, what were the policies or protocols recommended? The creation of youth arts programs. So, mabuti lang ito si Commissioner Del Rosario ng Youth Commission. Creation of youth arts programs in both basic and higher education institutions, making available grants that allow the youth to produce works that use digital technologies, but particularly to advocate public health and social issues. And also their involvement in all levels of education that must be looked into. Then the inclusion in the National Service Training Program, or NSTP, the formation of youth alliances to build communities of support to most vulnerable communities and groups. For example, those people living with HIV/AIDS, to the use of digital arts, which is the lingo of Generation Z, and of course collaboration. As I speak, and as I conclude this presentation, the National Research Council, NRCP, in partnership with the National Youth Commission, mounted the Digitized Arts Contest on HIV/AIDS awareness, okay, using digitized arts for the Gen Z ages 15 to 24. Hindi na to millennial, ano? Iba na tawag sa kanila. Gen Z na. Masyado na maging malayo. The boomers are too far already. Okay, as you can see, in just 2 weeks, there was an overwhelming response from the Gen Z with 36 entries. And the post reached almost 50,000 with 143 reactions, 116 comments, and 247 post shares. This only shows how the Gen Z are, and they can truly become good advocates and even be influencers instead of being the victims of HIV. And the board of judges was composed of Dr. Bantugan, who was the principal author of this research, Vice Chair Dr. Marietta Sumagaysay, the Executive Director of our NRCP, and the members are Ico Rodolfo Johnson, the President of Red Ribbon Care Management, it's an NGO, ASEC Victor De Rosario, thank you, as from the National Youth Commission, Dr. Louis Ocampo, the UNAIDS Country Representative, and of course Professor Oliver Rodriguez as the co-researcher of this project. And today we will award the top 3 entries after the Technology Media Conference. So I would like to again repeat, okay, the knowledge of the content of the research is on the hands of in the minds of our 3 researchers in the table, and we decided to include this in our series of Technology Media Conference because I think social sciences really deserves a place in research, okay? And it is only NRCP, as I said, and the National Academy of Science that are doing social science research. And by the way, there are 3 out of the 14 divisions of the National Research Council which are not in the STEM area. Okay, so they have the social science divisions where the economists, psychologists, sociologists belong. We have the humanities division where the music people, artists, okay, belong. And we have the government division, which really discusses more of policies. Okay, so the rest, the 11, are in the various areas like chemistry, physics, industrial sciences, the medical, veterinary, earth science, engineering. Yan na yung industrial sciences, di ba? Okay. And so yun, ang 11 out of the 14. So, we are happy that you came today, okay, for this technology media conference. Actually, hindi masyadong technology ang pag-uusapan natin, but it's really the research, particularly the social science aspects of the research that were conducted. And we believe that these are also very relevant in today's social environment. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Secretary. We recognize the presence in our midst of Bel Surara of Radio Aguila, Net 25, and from DCAR Sunshine Radio, we have Shara Veneracion also in our midst. Now, so we will proceed to the question and answer. There are microphones on the floor. You can please identify yourself and your media affiliation and raise your question and address it to anyone on the panel. Yes. Bell.
Hello po. Good morning po.
Si Bea.
Hello po. Good morning po sa ating lahat. I'm Bel Surara from Eagle Broadcasting Corporation po. Nakakatawag pansin po yung statistics. And dito po sa Pilipinas, araw-araw po, according po sa data o datos po ng Department of Health, 33% a day, di po ba? And meron po ngayong palabas, ang sa HIV po. Sorry, mas HIV po. Yun, may palabas po ngayon, P.O. Zepos, na balitaan niyo na po ba yun? Batang Pos. Batang Pos. P.O. Pelikula. Yan. Opo. Yan ang tanong ko lang sa mga nakakala po nating mga researchers pananaliksik. Yung pong pinaka-effective intervention po na pwede po nating ipaalam sa mga OFW and also sa mga pamilya po nila, di po ba? Paano po kaya yung sitwasyong ganon? OFW sila tapos meron silang karamdaman and yung family po ito sa Pilipinas po. Anong mga interventions po natin? Thank you po.
Gusto mga recommendations, pero
Ang tanong po ay kung paano ipapaalam.
And intervention na ginagawa po natin. Bakit po doon sa mga researches po natin? Okay po.
Meron pong isang NGO, Achieve, at talagang focus po sila sa HIV. Marami sila mga initiatives dyan from pre-deployment, during employment, and coming back. And then they have, they offer counseling to the family, at saka meron din po silang mga representatives abroad to prepare the family here and to help the person who is still there, who will soon, I suppose, pag nalaman po kasi na ganun, they are repatriated to the country. So tumutulong din government, nandiyan ang DOH, they offer interventions and health services to the OFW returnees.
And
this is very difficult to kasi you cannot expose them Oo, they cannot be identified. In fact, in my study, wala pong they are unrecorded. When I go to the different countries and ask if even in the regions, Wala po nagre-reveal nun eh, because, and they are unrecorded. But Achieve has a way of doing it. I think they're very successful.
With regards po sa digital technologies po, sino po yung papaano po natin gagawin yun at papaano po natin ano po yung proseso para po sa publiko kasi merong mga hindi techie is hindi maalam sa hindi masyadong technical.
Actually, yung study po namin, karamihan po sa atin nasa Facebook, nasa kung saan pa mga social media platform, at karamihan po ng kabataan, according to statistics, doon po sila nakakakuha ng sexual partners. Kaya ang study po ay doon nagmula at the idea na doon tayo pupunta. Total nasa Facebook sila, maglagay tayo ng content dyan na mababasa nila, na matututunan nila kung ano ang HIV/AIDS, paano nila iiwasan. Kasi hindi naman natin sila mapipigilang makipag-meet kung kanino nila gusto. So, might as well protect them. Ganun po yung idea po ng papel.
Ito po ba ay nakasalo sa Tagalog po? Kasi mas mauunawaan po kasi kung inatagalog ng masa.
Yung papel mismo, hindi po. Pero yung artworks na ma-generate po eventually, katulad po nung lumabas dun sa posters, iba-iba na po siyang likwahe.
Thank you. So, linawin ko lang ha, yung social media, hindi po siya nakaka-infect. It's what you do with social media, especially engaging in risky behavior that makes you vulnerable. All right? So let's hear from, yes, Rainier?
Just sir, sa double study. Bakit po napaka-general yung classifications. Sana ma-specify nyo what is reproductive disease, ano tong endocrine, pwede mang paki-specify yung mga kahit na yung top 1. Tapos pangalawa ma'am, bakit na-limit yung to land-based? Bakit hindi kasama yung, hindi tuloy parang hindi na-capture yung risky behavior ng mga sea-based OFW?
Unahin ko na po yung dun sa sea-based. Talaga pong yung proposal which has been approved and funded by NRCP is really focused on land-based. We can recommend that a similar study be done on sea-based. Maybe in the future that can be done. Yung sa study, it's a 73-page study po. At naka-indicate po doon that the study was conducted, ginupo ko na po yung countries, hindi siya per country, regions. So, Middle East, Asia, Europe, and America. And then yung sa sakit, dahil po sobrang daming sakit, ginupo ko na po siya according to body system. For example, pag sinabing sa reproductive health, kasama na po doon, among many others, ang breast cancer, cervical cancer, ovarian growth. Doon naman po sa endocrine, yung pinakasikat, diabetes, and then yung sa kidney naman, yung sa kidney po ay nasa urinary excretory. Ganun po yung grouping doon. Another grouping that I did in the study is occupation po, based on the occupation, and I studied the correlation between the occupation and the health problems. Yun po yung... Yes, sir.
Considering na tinanggal yung mga sea-based, is this
Tinanggal
enough to
yung-
be a basis for policy making?
Ay, hindi po tinanggal ang sea-based. They're really not included from the beginning. They're only land-based, sir.
Okay. Considering na hindi kasama yung sea-based, is this enough to be a basis for policy making?
Oh,
Yung
Makikiano na rin ako. Pag gumagawa po tayo ng research, yung researcher nagsasabi ano lang ang kanyang gustong gawin. So dito po sa research na ito land-based ang delimitations natin. But we note that there is an interest on sea-based. So baka part 2, part 3, part 4. So sa land-based po, magagamit pa rin natin ang findings. Kasi gaya ng portability of insurance. Kasi yung land-based, minsan this year, ang kontrata niya nasa Bahrain. After 2 years, ang kontrata niya andun na naman sa ano ba? Sa ibang country. Qatar. So yung ni Dr. Ramirez is yung insurance, pag Bahrain, Bahrain lang. Pag pumunta na siya sa Qatar, wala na. So sa kanyang policy recommendation, portability of the insurance. Para kahit saan siya pumunta, okay pa rin yung kanyang insurance. So land-based, yun po ang relevant na policy sa land-based na mga OFWs.
Gentleman on the back.
Hi, good morning po ng SMNA po. Gusto lang po namin malaman kasi napaka-importante ng ipinakita po ninyo na digitized arts kasi napaka-informative and of course taking into consideration na yung digital transformation natin dito talagang malakas na kasi we are embracing the technology. Gusto lang po namin malaman kung part ba ng recommendation po ninyo na i-partner dito ang Commission on Higher Education, the Department of Education, pagdating sa awareness sa HIV po natin. Since yung bracket po ninyo talagang from 15 to 30, marami pa mga 30s tayo ngayon na nag-aaral pa in college as well. Thank you.
Yes sir, kasi po that's why may ganun po tayong framework, may educational affiliation po nakasama dun sa networks na na-cite kanina kasi lahat po ng at risk ngayon ay nasa paaralan.
Sa paano paraan, under your recommendation, sa paano paraan, ano ba to? Is this for under legislation? Ano ba gusto niyo type of recommendation para may partner po ninyo ang DepEd at SHED? Please.
Well, actually, yung una siguro yung tungkol sa teenage pregnancy,
Yes,
yun
sir.
aware na ang DepEd at itong mga resulta ng study na to, hindi ko alam kung naibigay na sa DepEd, but definitely we'll furnish them with the results of the study. Kasi even Secretary Briones had made presentations in Cabinet about the seriousness of teenage pregnancy in schools. Now, with respect to HIV/AIDS, no, siguro kailangan din ipaalam sa lahat ng educational institutions itong available, shall we say, intervention na ito kasi kung pwede nilang magamit.
Can I just add to that, Secretary? Meron po tayong subject na MAPE. Music, Art, PE, and Health from grade 7, 8, 9, 10. Meron pong section, especially in health, meron pong section dyan talaga na HIV. I think the findings can be, and the method, the digital method can be used as a material with them, and I'm sure this will be a welcome thing with them. And kasi nga po, talagang meron namang lesson tungkol dyan sa subject, sa HIV. Also in the arts. So I think the recommendation can be made specifically for MAPE, music, art, PE and health.
Thank you.
Yes, last two questions.
Oh, ikaw na muna. Ako na.
From Generation A.
Oh, yes. Extra nangyari po this much din at PH. Halimbawa po, mayroong sana nakakontak nakakuha siya ng HIV. I mean, nakipag-intercourse siya o kung ano man po yun. O, and then, bago malaman na contaminated siya or na-infection siya or what, gano'ng katagal? Sabi 7 to 10. Tama po ba yun? Years? Incubation period or what? Halimbawa, nakakita ka ng isang meron nun. And then, you had an intercourse with a person. And then, now within yung period na makikita mo na, malalaman mo na you had it. Oh, yeah. Oh, see, 7 to 10, that was, I've been reading and been hearing. Ano ba talaga? Sir, oh, yeah,
Ano po, 3 months na lang po ngayon.
ano po?
We know it in 3 months po.
3 months?
3 months na
Okay.
lang.
Hindi bang strain naman yun? Kasi yun ang sinasabi nila nung una eh. It's not that.
That I wouldn't know. Pero today po, 3 months
Eh,
na po
ano
yung
po yung sinasabi ng gap na 7 days? That's nakaka-confuse po yun eh. Kasi within that period na hindi mo alam na meron ka na, and then you go on meeting with others, di ba, you've been spreading the infection. Tama po ba yun?
Yes, ma'am.
O di ba at that time, na dumating po yung period of incubation na nag-manifest na siya, marami ka nang na-contact kung ikaw ay, ano yun, gigulo or what. So, yeah.
Kaya po,
And that is, yes, that is the very first means, yes, the very risky. Yeah, because when you know it's already too late.
yes, ma'am. Kaya po, we recommend regular testing po. Ano po, regular po siya. Every 3 months you get tested, especially if you are
Oh,
sexually
yes,
active.
yes, yes, you're not dying.
Kaya po yung kasama po sa project na to yung aside from awareness, kasama po yung have yourself tested. Miski hindi ka promiscuous, basta para maiwasan yung pagkalat din, miski tayong lahat dito, tayo dapat ay magpa-test ng HIV. Para regardless kung promiscuous ka o hindi.
Oo, you have to.
Kasama yung sa project nila.
Nakalibre naman yan, di ba?
Sana dumating na si Mr. Iko kasi siya yung president ng Red Ribbon Management. Darating siya ma-explain.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you very much.
Just add, depende po kasi yun sa immune system mo. So, malakas yung immune system mo, matagal yung incubation. It's not the virus that is detected, it's your antibodies that is being detected by the test. So, depende po yun. Pero sabi ng mga pag-aaral, mabagsik na ngayon yung virus. So, yun. In 3 months, madali na siya. So, talaga that is why we advocate na yung mag-change yung narrative sa HIV testing. Hindi lang yung may sexual risk behavior ka, kundi parang maging just a regular medical check-up para sana sa lahat ng mga Pilipinas. Kasi kahit sino pwede matamaan ng virus.
Kung HIV na, magagamot pa? HIV na po siya. No, HIV, AIDS. Magagamot pa siya. No more.
Concern din po yan ng mga OFW kasi unang-una po, yung mga bansang pinupuntahan ng ating mga workers, may mga HIV health threats katulad ng, yun nga po, HIV. For example, meron pong news akong na I encounter, sabi nila 9-fold growth in 11 years or 80% increase each year in the Middle East. And then we send our people there. There are also illnesses that are not easily detected. For example, TB and HIV. So nagpa-PEME siya, the pre-employment medical evaluation, okay. Pagdating niya doon pa lang po na-discover na may TB pala or may HIV pala, and then after 6 months, kaya nga po ang advice is regular check-up. But then yun nga po yung risk, kailangan talaga i-improve din yung ating PEME, and so that we know, siguro may gap na time, another examination before we let them go to places where HIV is really high.
But then when it is already age, is it curable or? Yeah, I mean, it
Australia,
is already.
i-remind ko lang na itong pinipresent dito ay hindi the medical side. This is the social science side. You know. But the questions you have raised are actually the ones that should be incorporated in the information that has to be communicated through this so-called digital art. So, mahigiting i-raise niyo yung tanong na yun dahil feedback natin doon sa mga na yan ay pwedeng, yan ang content.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning po sa inyong lahat. Ang pumuhaw po sa akin, mag-concentrate ako sa OFW. I have
Please
two
introduce
questions.
yourself for the sake of our
By the way, my
audience.
name is Cassie Cruz from Digitized namin Katipunan and tuklasin natin lahat po. Una po, kanina nabanggit po kasi ni Secretary na bago po umalis ng bansa natin yung mga OFW ay husay ang kanilang kalusugan. At sumama ito nung nandun na po sila, lumabas na yung mga sakit. Ang tanong ko po ay gaano po sila katagal na nandun na sa ibang bansa nung sila ay nagkasakit, nagkaroon po ng mga karamdaman. Pangalawa po, ano-ano yung dahilan ng kanilang karamdaman o pagkakasakit. At pangatlo, dahil po dun sa dahil sa inyong datos, ano ang rekomendasyon ninyo na dapat pa ba tayo magpadala ng workers sa ibang bansa? Tama pa na ituloy pa yung pagtatatag ng department o sa OFW? So, yung apat na question.
Opo, buong thesis ko na po, buong research ko na po. Yung una, yung sa edad. Gano'ng katagal bago malaman yung sakit? Meron po tayong...
Ano yung average age ng sinurvey? Average stay.
Yeah. Average stay outside, more than 5 years po sila. Kasi they have to send their children pa to college eh. Oo, bago sila umuwi. And then ang uso po, they don't just go once, circular migration. After the contract, they come home and then they go back and go back and go back because they are supporting up to 7 levels of family members. 7 levels. So yung asawa mo, yung kamag-anak niya, ganun lahat po yung suportado in many cases. Yung age po, those who availed of the OWA medical benefit, pinakamataas ang age bracket po, 46 to 50. The next is 41 to 45 and then 51 to 55. So masasabi natin na retirable na sila. They really stay and then they come home, then they avail of the OWA medical benefit. In Italy po, iba pang sitwasyon doon eh. Mga immigrants sila, so they don't go through recruitment agencies. And then they are not members of OWA. But then, when I was there, ang naririnig ko po, ang sinasabi po sa akin, they become members of OWA because they would like to be repatriated na libre. Saka sila nagme-member ng OWA kasi po nagre-repatriate ang OWA. Yung causes po, causes ng sakit. Okay. Sinabi na po ni Secretary, I just want to add a few more things about the causes. Yung hypertension is due to excessive intake of salty foods, stress, lack of sleep, fatigue. Yung digestive system naman po, because of their irregular meal intake, lalo na yung mga domestic workers, they wait for the employer to eat first, saka pala sila kakain. At kung those of you who have been there, the Middle East, mapapansin nyo, wala pong sopas. Puro na lang inihaw, di ba? Yun, kailangan po syempre ng katawan yun. Yung sa urinary problems po naman, it's due to limited water supply in the Middle East and also the inaccessible toilet. Kasi po nasa loob ng kwarto ng employer yung toilet. So it's not very easy, kaya karamihan sa lalo sa mga babae. Yung climate, it's very cold in Europe and it's very hot in the Middle East. Tapos yung ergonomics, also, yung sinasabi nga, nabanggit po ni Secretary, yung repetitive motion sa trabaho, no? Pagbubuhat and prolonged working hours. Idagdag ko na rin po yung overeating. Tayo mga Pilipino, we love to eat. It's a form of socialization. Overeating, nakakakos din po yan ng mga sakit. Ngayon, yung recommendations po, no? Teka, yung tungkol sa PEME, may nabanggit kayo yung mga sakit. I would like, there are 5 illnesses po na focus ng DOH when they test the OFWs in PEME. HIV, TB, STD, HEPA, and NCD. So yun pong mga 5 yun, at dami pong hindi napapadala because they don't qualify. I recommended in my study that those who have been detected with these illnesses should be monitored because they're going back to their communities. They're prevented from going abroad to, syempre, parang hindi na sila makahawa sa labas. Pero babalik yan sa community. Huwag lang sana silang bitawan ng PEME o ng DOH. Sundan sila para hindi na sila makapag sa community. And yun, mabigyan din sila talaga ng medical assistance. Then lastly, yung recommendations ko po, yung sa PDOS, pre-departure orientation seminar, marami pong ginagawa, binibigay dyan, values, financial literacy. Sana po magkaroon din ng mga yung sa health. For example, to prepare them for the geographic, climate, and environmental hazards in the country of work before they leave, and then teach them eating right foods, exercise, getting enough sleep, frequent hand washing, those things that are very basic. But we just assume siguro, ginagawa naman yan, hindi po lahat gumagawa nun. And then, since the study has identified the common health problems per region, dapat po sana palakasin natin yung medical information and campaign, lalong-lalo na sa mga sakit na cardiovascular at reproductive, kung saan mataas yun. Then vaccine din, humihiling din po sila ng vaccine kasi MMR lang binibigay. Pero kailangan po nila ng anti-flu sa Hong Kong, kailangan din nila ng anti-Hep B. Of course, hindi naman lahat bibigyan ng vaccine. Depende sa DOH na to determine all of this and how it should be administered. Then finally, the wellness program, para hindi lang po tayo nagsusolve ng problema, paghandaan natin, wellness program for, that will include, wellness program for specific occupational groups, that will include, for example, work and life balance, emotional intelligence and anger management, kasi po yung galit, minsan nakakapatay. And then, occupational ergonomics, self-health, safety and health, and finally, spirituality. Pagdasalin po tayo. Pati nga doon sa trabaho, minsan tayo yung nag-evangelize tayo eh. Positive po yung natin na characteristic ng Pinoy. So, sana po sa wellness program na yan, pagkakasama po natin. Thank you.
Meron ako yung intervention doon sa tanong mo. Kasi malapit na ako umalis eh. Kwento actually. So, nung dati, nung nag-offer sa UP ng distance learning sa Hong Kong. Kasi meron tayong UP Open University. Ang unang-unang mga naging beneficiaries niyan ay yung mga taga Hong Kong. So may bayanihan center sa Hong Kong na kung saan doon ginagawa yung mga doon ang headquarters ng Open University. And nung graduation, doon sa hindi naman siya formal degree program by course. So halimbawa, marami kasi doon mga teachers. So kumukuha sila ng subject on teaching. Halimbawa, teaching reading, teaching mga ganon. So yung isa na interview ko nag-graduate, sabi niya, ang hirap daw sa sitwasyon nila kasi usually domestic worker na sila sa bahay, pero pagkatapos ng kanilang trabaho sa umaga at saka bago yung dumating yung gabi na sila ay nagtatrabaho din sa negosyo ng kanilang amo. So domestic worker sila, tapos empleyado pa sila doon sa opisina, doon sa tindahan. Isang lang yun, isang sweldo lang yun, isang kaya sabi niya, nung nag-aaral siya sa Open University, siya daw ay gigising ng maagang-maaga para siya mamotivate, nagbibihis siya ng parang papasok siya sa school bago niya basahin yung kanyang lesson sa Open University para lang mamotivate pa siya. Kunyari, papasok siya sa school, nag-aayos siya talaga. So, yun. Pangalawang ikukwento ko yung personal experience namin, yung aming kasambahay na matagal na natuksong mag-abroad. So, nagpaalam, pumunta ng Singapore. Nung primero, nagpapadala pa ng mga retrato ng nakuha niya, nung bandang uli na tumahimik na. Hanggang sa after 3 or 4 months ay humingi na ng saklolo. Si Doy padala na ng pera, bibili siya ng ticket pa uwi at hindi na siya makatagal. So, madaling salita, imbes na makaipon, nagkautang pa siya kasi daw pagka umalis ka pala sa nagtatrabahuan mo, bumalik ka doon sa iyong ahensya, no? Chinacharge ka ng everyday expenses, kaya nababaw sila sa utang, no? So, umuwi at napatunayan nila mas maligal siya dito kaysa doon. Anyway, yun lang ang short sharing ko. Sa tanong mo naman kung dapat pa ba tayo magpadala ng OFWs, alam mo, ang Pangulo ayaw niya talaga magkaroon ng OFWs. Pero ano magagawa mo? Wala namang enough work available dito. Hindi naman po pwedeng maghintay na lang ng wala. No? Kaya, kumbaga sa kwan, it's something that we have to live with right now. Pero ang talagang goal natin hindi na maging main source of employment yung pagiging OFW. Hindi lang natin talaga maiwasan na wala namang ibang opportunities kaya they have to go. At marami din naman ang meron din naman magagandang istorya. Bukod doon sa mga malulungkot na istorya. At naranasan ko yan, magit mo yung Italy. Medyo maganda ang kanilang working conditions doon. Kaya, doon papunta ako sa Turin, nung medyo bata-bata pa ako, nakasakay kami sa aeroplano, OFW. Pinipilit pa kaming, dumaan muna kayo sa bahay namin. Kasi sila yung OFW na may bahay. May live out. So, marami silang pinagtatrabahuhan, pero uwi sila sa gabi sa kanilang bahay. So, maayos na. Inistima pa kami, at kami naman, kung na-delay kami ng pagdating doon sa pupuntahan namin, kami pala hinahanap na. Hindi nila alam na naki-merienda muna kami sa OFW. No? So, yun, kung may mga tanong pa kayo, pwede namang, So, Richard, ilan pa pwede? Sir?
Ang dami mong tanong, But actually the secretary has to leave. Yes, sir. Last question, please. Your name and the affiliation, please.
Okay. Sir, good morning. Yes. Alan po from PTV. My question is for the NYC Assistant Secretary and for our Secretary of the OST. I-connect ko lang. Okay. Kasi sir, si NYC ASEC, one who is post, he encouraged all the government officials magpa-test. So, can we ask for him to say something about that? Si ASEC Victor Del Rosario, please.
ASEC Victor?
Yes, sir. Okay lang, ASEC, harap ka po para i-camera, sir.
Ito, sir.
Yes, sir. Okay na lang po.
Yes, the part of the National Youth Commission, we really encourage our government officials to step up our efforts in this fight against HIV and AIDS. And in our national strategy, the first step is for everyone to get tested, to know your status. So, mas maganda na po siguro kung lead by example po tayo, kaya tayo po yung nananawakan sa ating mga government officials na kumari po, sila po ang manguna, may pakita natin sa publiko na number one, wala pong dapat ikatakot at ikabahala pag ikaw po ay nagpapa-HIV test. Dahil ito po ay para din sa sarili mong proteksyon at para din po sa community. Number two, dapat mabago yung narrative dito. Kasi yung HIV, hindi po siya nakakamatay. Hindi po siya nakakamatay. Ang mas nakakamatay po ay yung stigma at discrimination. Ang mga myths at saka mga misconceptions. Kaya mas maigi na po kung ating mga government officials ang manguna po rito para ma-encourage din po lalo na ating mga kabataan na magpa-test po sila. Kasi yun po ang pinakaunang hakbang para po sa laban kontra HIV and AIDS.
Okay, thank you, ASEC. And with that, the government official kamo, andyan na Secretary of the OST.
Ano tanong?
Yes, sir. So, sabi sir ni ASEC Victor ay in-encourage siya po yung mga government officials na magpa-test.
Encourage mo naman, di ba? Okay naman yung encourage.
Alright, so thank you very much. I think we have exceeded our time already. It's time for lunch, but we'd like to acknowledge the presence of Iko Rodolfo Johnson, the CEO and President of Project Red Ribbon Management Foundation Incorporated. Ayan po, kung gusto niyo magpatulong, kung magpa-test kayo, si Iko lapitan ninyo. Iko, you have 1.5 minutes.
Thank you very much. Magandang hapon po sa inyo. So, thank you very much for inviting me at maraming salamat po sa inyong lahat. In behalf of the Project Red Ribbon Care Management Foundation, isa po kaming awareness, prevention, testing, treatment, care, and support. Isa sa mga programa namin for treatment, care, and support ay nag-aalaga kami ng mga kids with HIV. Right now, we have more than 135 kids with HIV under our care na namatay na yung mga magulang, inaalagaan na lang ng mga kapitbahay, inaalagaan na lang ng mga relatives. Meron din kami programa under the in partnership with the National Youth Commission. Ito yung tinatawag namin Happy Program. Ito yung HIV/AIDS Prevention Program for the youth, wherein we're gonna train SKs and youth leaders all over the Philippines about awareness para ma-prevent naman natin yung paglaganap ng HIV and help reverse the HIV epidemic here in the Philippines. At the same time, kasama sa proyektong yun, yung mental health at saka teenage pregnancy. At meron din kami mga programa sa mga corporate kasi for the longest time, hindi natin na-penetrate yung corporate organizations. At tinatawag namin dito ay yung Comprehensive HIV in the Workplace Program or CHIP, na kung saan dinadala na namin yung HIV testing sa lahat ng mga clinics ng companies. And later on, siguro pag-uusapan na namin yung partnership with the department, with the DOST, na kung saan pwede kaming magbigay ng tulong all over the yung DOST partners and DOST offices para together we can stop the epidemic and your reach can also be our reach. So ang ginagawa rin namin for awareness, nagbibigay kami ng HIV education awareness, testimonial and screening sa mga schools, sa mga LGU, sa mga faith-based organizations, LGBT organizations, and local government units. And nakikipag-partner kami sa mga local government units at the same time, we are also partnering with different government agencies. Kabilang na dito yung NYC, kabilang na dito yung Philippine Health Insurance Corporation, na kung saan lahat ng regional offices ng PhilHealth ay pupuntahan namin para magturo at mag-educate. At kami din ay nakipag-partner na sa DSWD na kung saan mag-educate kami yung sa Pantawid Pamilya program nila. At the same time, yung mga aming awareness programs para sa kanilang mga volunteers. Our experience, basically, it's coming from the thousands of stories of people living with HIV. Kahapon lamang ay pumunta ako sa isang treatment hub. Ito yung RITM, the Research Institute for Tropical Medicine, at na kung saan ito yung pinakamaraming clients na may HIV. Meron silang 10,000 clients with HIV that they're catering to all over the Philippines. At doon nakita ko, meron kami yung 4 na pasyente pinuntahan. Ang pinakabata doon is 19 years old. So meron na siyang infection. At mga AIDS related infections ang nakita namin. At kami ay nagbigay kami ng inspirational talk dun sa mga taong, yung mga nakita namin mga kliyente. This is very important for us because sometimes hindi natin nakikita. We always focus on awareness and prevention, when in fact, the Project Red Ribbon is really focused on helping people living with HIV. Our stories are the stories of a lot of Filipinos who have died because of AIDS, a lot of Filipinos, OFWs, who got deported because they went to the Middle East and Muslim countries and they got accosted and deported at hindi nila alam yung gagawin nila. These are the stories of violations because of the stigma and discrimination attached to HIV, that they cannot think anymore for themselves, and because of the poor education when it comes to HIV and AIDS, marami pa rin namamatay. So this is a personal story of a lot of Filipinos who died of HIV and having succumb to these issues when it comes to HIV and AIDS. Muli, nagpapasalamat ako in behalf of more than 5,000 na tinutulungan naming mga HIV. In behalf of all of them, maraming salamat po.
Maraming salamat, Iko. So kung meron tayong National Commission for the Youth, si Iko yung magiging commissioner ng National Commission for HIV testing. So please, for your concerns, Iko is available to respond. Now, we have time for lunch, and after lunch we will announce the winners of the Best Digitized Arts for HIV/AIDS awareness. Alright? So we just have a quick lunch, and then we will have the awarding. Now we're going to show on the screen, please direct your attention to some of the entries, including the winning entries. Alright? Okay, so food is ready, buffet, self-service buffet, just outside the room. When you come back, we will show you the digital images. Thank you very much. Okay.
na tayo na aggressive na lang tayo sa aggressive
Hindi pa yung wala pa yung kasi
Siyempre, voluntarily, so kailangan